Hello everyone, it's James from Keeping It Anime, and today we're talking episode 103 of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS. Now, this episode follows the aftermath of the Playmaker versus Bohman duel. And this episode altogether, personally speaking, I found it a little bit conflicting. On the one hand, I really did enjoy the content that we got given, but on the other hand, I didn't like the fact that it was a recap episode, so to speak. So, once the intro is over, right, so then, we start off with the aftermath and everyone kind of coming to terms with what's happened. This is where we see all the people that were affected by the neuron link and our heroes returning. The only people who don't return are the Ignises. And this, for me, is actually really good. The reason being is, we hear the same line that was said at the end of last week's episode, that the price for victory was too high. Okay. And it's that time that we actually get to see the people come back. And that really diminished that sentence, in that phrase, until we found out that the AIs aren't coming back at the moment in time. So that statement does still carry weight behind it. So I really did like the fact that they kept that in. Now, we do also see Miyu in this scene, as she's now woken from her coma. And it's explained to us, kind of weirdly actually, that the reason why people that were affected by the neuron link and our heroes have returned is because it's something to do with Bowman's pride. Okay, fine. Bit of a loose way of explaining it, but that's what they're going to go with. And then we get the new intro. So this new intro has actually got a fair amount to talk about. So, we got a new song, and I actually quite like it. The song is actually quite nice and quite catchy. We have a new rival for Playmaker, being this guy. And we get some new monsters from people like Ghost Girl. Soulburner, I think, has a new monster in the opening. Yeah, so obviously there's going to be new monsters. We don't see Ai throughout this entire opening. And we see a shot of Raboppy basically being quite dead inside. She's not moving, she not has any lights on at all. And are we getting tag duels? If we're getting tag duels in this season, I'm going to absolutely love that. Because it's one thing that I think this show kind of could do with, but doesn't desperately need, and that is tag dueling. We see a couple of shots of like Emma and Blood Shepherd flying on their D-boards together with their monsters out. We see shots of Aoi and Akira basically confrontating against somebody or something. And this kind of does hint at tag duels a little bit. Just a little bit. And if that's all we're going to get, I'm excited for it. They could have done something like that with Bowman and Haru at the start of the season 2. But they didn't. And now there's 2 new villains being introduced in this episode. They might just go that route. And is Go smiling in this opening? I don't know, just by what his character's gone through, it kind of looks a bit weird. Not gonna lie, a little bit creepy. And it's not meant to be a creepy smile. It's meant to be a nice, genuine smile. Oh well, maybe he's back on track. So, those are just a few talking points from the opening that I managed to get when watching it. Overall, it's a solid opening, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I did Season 2's opening. Season 2's opening for me at the moment is really stale and boring, and I skip it all the time. This one, I might actually get used to it and start, watching the episodes with the intros, more often. So then, we get a really nice scene where we've got Yusaku in the hot dog truck cooking hot dogs. And it's heavily implied in this scene that Aoi doesn't know who Playmaker and Soulburner's real life identities are. This is a question that we've been asking in the fandom as to whether or not she does know. Maybe we thought that Aqua told her, or maybe I told her. But it turns out she doesn't, because she's talking to Yusaku as in quite genuine and quite sort of surprised. But at the same time, this scene does wonders for Aoi's character. Because, yes, she's visiting Miyu, and that's probably given her outlook on life a great boost. And we've seen her character develop throughout this entire series so far. Like, if you go back to Season 1, she's shy, anxious, she would never have gone up to someone in a hot dog truck and asked for an order. That's just how her character was written. But this, we see her smiling, we see her happy, she's conversing with Yusaku quite friendly. I know they're probably friends at school. But this just shows how much her character has evolved and developed throughout the series, and I really did like that. I don't know if I'm overhyping that little scene, but maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section below. So then, technology, Soltech. They have created their first human-type AI, which they're calling Soltic. Hope I pronounced that right. If not, that might have sounded a bit rude. Which looks like something out of the movie iRobot or the TV series known as Humans. This is only based off of the images that we got shown in this episode, where it looks like they're just like human android shells with the capability of thinking for themselves. And if you've watched any of those movies, you know that's going to go horribly wrong at some point. So then this is where the episode gets a bit recap-ish. And where people would start to turn off on this episode, but honestly speaking, if you haven't watched it yet, I would stick with it. Because this showcases the emotion and the connection between Flame and Soulburner, as they're thinking about how their journey started and how they've both been together since the start. And although it's been some time from what we're told, Takeru/Soulburner has not come to terms yet with Flame being gone. He's still very upset and distorted by the fact, and we see just how much of an impact Flame has had on him as a character, and how much those two have grown together. We then get more development on Playmaker in terms of flashbacks, by them basically showing us just what he thinks the connection and the bonds that he has with Aya, because we're told in this scene that Ai and Ribapi are missing. Since Ai failed to save his fellow Ignises, and he felt really bad and upset that he couldn't do so, he's gone into hiding. Ribapi is kind of gone as well, which Takeru kind of just says, well, maybe it's just the backup at play. But, you know, all AIs and all Ignises are gone at this moment in time. Ai's obviously not dead, but he's just not showing himself. And in this scene with Playmaker just basically thinking of Ai and doing things how it's how he's developed because of Ai, it really does put it into perspective. But what also did make me like this scene a bit more, and thankful for the recap, was the fact that we see Yusaku telling Ai again that when it's all over, all Ignises need to go into hiding. And what has Ai done? He's gone into hiding. Maybe not for the reason Yusaku wanted, but he has done what he is asked. Why? We don't know. I'm interested to find out, and hopefully we will in the upcoming episodes. Now this is where we see Revolver and Spectre. They show up in real life, and Revolver, Ryoken, whatever you want to call him, he flips his character back to before the lightning duel, and states that if our heroes get in his way, he'll take him down, no matter what, and he's still out to get Ai and any other Ignises that come up. So him and his Knights of Hanoi are still basically going to be searching the web and taking down anything that's bad and Ignis related. Right then, so the episode kind of concludes on a little bit of a dark note, and I did really like this scene. So we end the episode with what looks like a part in VRAINS. We're not quite sure if it is VRAINS or not, but it doesn't look like the real world. We then see some gravestones with the symbols for each Ignis, apart from eyes, on there. So we see Aquas, Lightning, Flame, Windy, Earth, we see those inscripted upon these gravestones. And then we see two new characters putting flowers down and standing in front of them. Now, one character is obviously Yusaku's main rival, because if you've watched the new opening, you'll see that they heavily imply that, and he has a darker variation of Deco Talker. From the looks of it. We don't know what it's actually called or what his ability is, but the monsters seem similar. Now, the other character that we're introduced to, he looks a lot like Sora from Arc 5, and the deck that we see him use in the opening, which if that is his, looks like a power tool deck of some variation. So, I don't know, maybe they just fused Sora and Leo from Arc 5 and 5Ds together to make a character. I don't know. So I'll be interested to see how these guys play into the story later on down the road. Now, let's go into a bit of a speculation type of thing then, shall we? Yes, we've only had a few clips with these two new characters. But I have a feeling that they are from Soltech and not from Team Lightning. Yes, he's Playmaker's rival, the main one. Yes, the other one's a little bit small, like Haru. And the main new character, the one that we think is going to be Playmaker's main rival, has got similar features to Bohman. But I don't think that that's the case, that he's on Team Lightning. I think that he's part of Soul Technology in the sense that he basically is one of these human-developed AIs. But he has Earth's data inside of him. So he has the Ignis algorithm of Earth. Much like they tried to import it into Go, they managed to now use Earth's data and create these two characters. Because that would explain the connection and why they're at the Ignis' grave and delivering flowers. It proves there'll be a connection between the two. And Soul Technology might be basing it, or basing their dueling patterns off of Playmaker, because he's been such an instrumental part in saving the VRAINS so many times over. So yes, maybe he might be a Bohman 2.0, but if he's created from Soul Technology's point of view, then it drags Soul Technology into being the main villains, and that's all we want as fans at the end of the day, I reckon. I think that'll be a pretty cool idea, and if that ends up being the case, well then, you heard it here, folks. But other than that, guys, that's all I've really got to say. If you've liked the video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me, and until next time, I hope you have an amazing day, and, well, keep it anime. Goodbye.